Hey, back again, and back again with another SX-1000TW. The last one of these I worked on had the diode issue causing the power supply to basically dead short. I intended to do a full restoration video on that one, but after I fixed the issue, sort of forgot and just went and plowed through and did a recap and everything on it, but forgot to make the video. So I happened to have come across another one of these in need of repair. So this video will be taking a look at the restoration of this particular SX-1000TW. Okay, so I bought this receiver for parts not working. As you can probably see, the original power cord was cut, and the previous owner, I assume, or someone else down along the line, attempted to just splice poorly a new power cord on it. They were electrical tape, so it wasn't bare like this, but you can see just kind of twisted it straight to the old power cord. When I plugged it in on the dim bulb tester, hit the switch, and nothing, no response from the receiver, as well as no kind of bulb illumination. So pulled it apart, and what did I see? Whoever cut the power cord on the outside also cut it on the inside. So if someone tried to do the quick splice, they wouldn't get anything. So what we're going to do is I've got a new 2-prong cord, so we're going to install that. I'm assuming because the power cord was cut that this unit probably has some issues, but we'll get this cord replaced and hook it up to the dim bulb and just see what happens. Okay, taking a look down here at the schematic, we can see our power plug running around through the switch, through fuse, and then to this 0 terminal on the voltage selector. By the schematic and by checking the previous SX-1000TW I did work on, the original plug was kind of the old non-polar type. This is just another one I have kind of laying around, so both prongs were equal size. Those are kind of difficult to find now, so we'll be installing a polarized plug. So the larger blade is neutral and the smaller blade is hot. So ideally we'll want to attach the hot cord or part of the power cord in line with our fuse. So we'll taking a look in the receiver, we'll just kind of pan up here. This big mess of wires here is the voltage selector, and you can see the fuse screws out from the back here. So by the schematic, what we're going to call the neutral side, what we want to install as neutral, is hooked up to this pin 0 through a 0.01 microfarad cap, while what we want as the hot is directly through the switch to the fuse. So what we're going to do, or what I saw on at least a portion of this existing wire that was cut, is that the wire on top here, it's going to be tough to see, maybe you can see it a little bit in the light, but this wire is ridged. So while the plug might have been non-polar, usually the ridged wire indicates neutral. Well, this wire on bottom is smooth, and kind of same in the receiver here, what was cut. The wires on the bottom here are smooth, while these ones up top have a ridge, tactile ridge. Maybe you can see it here, just on the top. So I'm suspecting that top's going to be what we want to keep neutral. If it was indeed kind of wired up that way originally, so the top should be this neutral, or what we're going to attach as a neutral here. The bottom, which is smooth, we want running through the fuse. Okay, so to test this, just to make sure that the bottom is indeed, or the bottom here is indeed the what we want to hook up as hot, we'll just test with the fuse in and out to see continuity. So we're going to test from the old kind of junctions here and here, and just compare it to the schematic. So we know that one end of the fuse ties to pin 0, and the other end ties to the incoming line, which again are those two kind of junction points with the solder. And just take this out of the stand. Pin 0, you can see it there, is in the very back. This pin with the white wire on top looks to be numbered pin 5. Pin 5, the one with the red, is numbered pin 4. Hopefully you can see those showing up on camera. And then kind of going around pin 3 with the orange, pin 2 with the purple, and pin 1 there with the yellow. So pin 0 is indeed this pin in the back, which again, going to the schematic, is on the one side of the fuse here, pin 0, and you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 running around, depending on what voltage setting you have the receiver set to. So we're going to test with the fuse removed and see where our continuity is between the plug or juncture and the fuse holder. And so these pins around the kind of exterior, again, are all the numbered, and then this here should be at the base of the fuse. So that's this point here on the schematic after the switch. Before that, 1.5 amp fuse there. So show that real quick. Accidentally paused that video, but I'm going to grab the multimeter, and we're just going to test between the junctures and the fuse. We'll pull the fuse out. So the one that is going to be hot, where if the fuse blows, it'll kind of remove the hot from the receiver, will be the one that has continuity between its juncture down here and the base of the fuse. So just using a standard multimeter. Again, power is off, obviously. Don't want to be doing this with it live. Let me just zoom out so hopefully you guys can see a little better, and let me see if I can prop my meter up in the shot. Okay, so again, just doing a continuity test. So let's hook up on the bottom. Again, this is the one we suspect is hot just based on this top having the ridge in the wire jacket. And I'm just going to touch. Okay, so we do have continuity between that bottom juncture and the base of the fuse holder, and then to the top where the other half of the original cord was hooked up. Nothing. gonna move my hand out of the way. Hopefully you can see a little better. And we'll switch again to the bottom. Back to top. Okay, so based on that, I'm thinking we were correct. Our hot is going to be coming in through the lower and hooking up to this lower junction point, while the neutral is hooking up here. So just to kind of go over again what we're doing on the schematic, we were testing at the base of the fuse with the fuse out. This leg here doesn't have any continuity to that base of the fuse, but this top leg, which will run through the fuse, does. So that's where we want our hot to hook up. So if the fuse blows, the hot into the receiver kind of goes away. Okay, so next step is going to be removing the old wires here and just getting our new wire in there so we can solder it in. Okay, so the power cord enters the receiver through this wire strain relief fitting. These things always kind of give me hell coming out, so basically what we're going to do is compress it and try and pull it out so we can get our new cord in. So just squeeze it and try and work this out. Well, that's not what we want. It looks like it snapped a little bit there. Okay, so after a bit of a heated struggle, I did get the old power cord out. We probably will need, or we will need, a new strain relief bushing to get on there, but it's out. Bushing will go in later when I'm wrapping it up. Just want to kind of get the power cord on this thing. So got just a 2-prong polarized extension cord. Gonna snip the end off and peel back some of the wiring. So get rid of that end and get rid of some of the jacket. And just split these. Okay, so one end of this, or one side of this, is marked with a ridge, so we know that'll be our neutral, or should be anyway. So see if we can bring it into focus. But you can see this side's got the ridging on it. This side does not. Go up to the plug. We've got our large plate on top. You can see the ridging, so that's our neutral, and smooth to the small blade, so that's our hot. What I'm going to do is pre-tin the ends of these. Probably even can shorten these up a little bit. So we're going to pre-tin them and then just get this thing sorted up. So let me get my soldering iron ready and we'll be good to go. Okay, so tinning wires here, nothing groundbreaking. Basically just going to heat the wire and get a good coat of solder on it. Okay, now the other one. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Okay, so before I put this in, something I like to do to ensure that I don't make mistakes is just use a marker on everything where there's kind of two of something similar. So you can see, put some black marker here on the neutral wire, and I also put some black marks here where the neutral wire is going to hook up, just to make sure I don't make a mistake on that. So we'll trim this old neutral power wire out here, being careful not to cut any other wires in here. Okay, so that's snipped. Our iron's still hot. We got our lead pre-tinned. Just feed these back through. I don't have extra strain relief on hand, so just kind of doing this to see what's going on with the unit, see if we can get it to power up at all, or if there's any other issues. So we'll just get this positive wire out of the way. We got our ridged wire here, and we're just gonna try soldering it down to that existing grouping there. Okay, it's not want to stick, so I'll just set it up with a clamp to hold it in place and get some more solder on it. Okay, so it's having some difficulties getting the solder to really bond between the new wire and the existing kind of connections down there. So just tried coating them with some solder flux. So let's see if that does the trick. Okay, good. Looks like we finally got a connection there. Now for the hot wire down here. Again, trim this old brown wire out. And we'll wrap the brown new one in. Apply some heat and see if we can get it to take. Okay, so looks like we're good on that one too. So what we're going to do is hook this up to a dim bulb tester. I'm sure that something's going to be wrong with it. Half suspecting that maybe we have the same issue with the power board, where some of those diodes went bad and the thing's just dead shorting basically. So I'm gonna go grab my dim bulb tester and we can take a look. Okay, so we got our receiver, new power cord hooked up to the dim bulb. Receiver is off, so we'll switch it to the on position, and we'll flip the dim bulb to the on position. And we don't have anything. Didn't light up. So, oh, okay. Let me just turn this all back off. I pulled the fuse and totally forgot that I didn't put it back in. Okay, so we'll put that back in and let's try this again. Okay, plug it back in. Receiver turned on and hit the switch. Okay, so dim bulb's not illuminating super bright or anything, and you can probably see kind of back in the unit up here, we are getting power. Let me just turn it off and spin it so I'm not risking shocking myself touching anything here. Okay, so again, let's just turn it back on, make sure we're not touching anything there. Okay, you can see how the face is illuminating. Tuning meter is showing kind of strong tuning. Power lights on. Maybe the FM stereo bulb is toast, but you can see I'm moving the tuning meter here and it is deflecting as I'm scrolling through the stations. This knob, no good. So, okay, that was really unexpected. We'll spin this thing around and see what we're getting for voltages at the speaker terminals. See if there's anything there that's throwing up a red flag. This back in the stand. Okay, so something to note is that this unit does use those proprietary Pioneer speaker plugs, which I do have a bag of somewhere around here. Okay, let's get our meter, DC voltage. Try to hook these up. Okay, turn the receiver back on. Double check that I have it on in front. Okay, so jumping around a little bit. So it looks like we got about 50 millivolts, 40, 50 millivolts at the speaker terminals. Now let's go to the left channel. About the same thing, kind of bouncing around. This is a cap coupled amp, so no relay. And from my reading, I believe this kind of bouncing here is expected. So what I'll do is we can hook up some of my test speakers, which you might have seen in the shots before, these little realistics here. So let me get those hooked up and we can see what's what. Okay, so based on my reading, I'm just a hobbyist, so those of you with a bit more experience or knowledge can feel free to correct me down in the comments if I'm wrong, but the DC offset we're seeing for a cap coupled amplifier should be probably pretty close to zero. I believe the capacitors should filter out all the DC, and the DC we're seeing, I believe, is the result of DC leakage in the caps. So a recap might bring this thing a bit back closer to zero. But anyway, got my two little speakers hooked up here, so let's fire this thing up. And I did notice whoever had this before was screwing with the balance knob, so you can see that is pinned left and it's pointing at right, and then if I turn it right, kind of maxes out there, so balance is maybe that center based on how the knob's set up there. So let's just power this up to make sure the volume's all the way down, then hit the dim bulb. Okay, looks like that FM stereo bulb is out. The tuning meter's pretty much pinned right there. I don't think you can get much higher than that, so give us some.
It doesn't make sense. When you think about how things work, usually members of an organization are the ones that make decisions for that organization.
Okay, so I'm not really sure why the power cord was cut on this unit. At least on FM here, everything appears to be working fine. Now, if only the outside cord was cut, maybe I'd say someone didn't really care about this receiver and just snipped that cord to get a little bit of scrap for some beer money, but having that power cord also snipped on the inside is kind of making me scratch my head a bit. I mean, this isn't even hooked up to an antenna of any type, and on FM here we're pulling in like every station very strongly. I really have no idea why someone would kind of ruin this receiver by cutting the cord. I guess we can just go through here, see what we mean.
Welcome to Food Farms and Chefs.
We're getting AM in pretty well too.
These things observed with care.
Again, now that's just off the stick antenna in the back.
Importance of aerobic exercise as a key pulse suit.
Okay, so let me get my turntable or a turntable over here and hook it up, see if we get Phono, if the Phono inputs are good or not. And maybe I can try and find something, streamer or something, hook up to the auxiliary input, see how that works. But other than the cut cord, I'm really not seeing any issues with this thing so far. Okay, so let me get that stuff and hook it up and we'll see what we get. Okay, so we got it hooked up to this turntable here I've been working on. So just to test the Phono input, got a record queued up, turn this on. Oh, turn the record player on. Go to the Phono input.
I have talked to, come to know you, I've come to need.
Okay, so it seems that the Phono section is working fine. Let me just make sure I'm getting volume out of both speakers. Definitely getting one out of here on the right. And getting some out of here on the left.
Together, we should be walking side to side.
Maybe that's a bit more balanced, but yeah, so Phono section is working on this, so really perplexed as to why the cord was snipped on this one, but what I'll do, hit up Mauser or DigiKey, get us a parts order in, and work through probably a full recap of everything except the tuner board, and probably pop in a couple new transistors here and there. I think this thing had a couple bad ones that are not maybe necessarily bad, but ones that show up on the list of transistors that should just be preemptively replaced. So yeah, that'll be another video, but for now, all we had to do was replace that power cord and this thing fired right up. Okay, so those of you that are interested, probably be working on this receiver over the next week or so in my spare time, so try and get that recap video posted.